Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for being with us today on this beautiful day for this wonderful event back at Richard Flowers, which we, as you can see, fully rehabilitated, and it's been a great place to house families and help families get on the path to with good housing to achieve their dreams, and that's really why we're here today. My name is Rich Minacchio. I'm the director of the Housing Authority of Cook County. And, for us, it's always been about more than bricks and mortar here. My top priority is to give young people the chance to learn and thrive. That's really why we're here. We house about 6,500 young people throughout the county. And every one of those young people needs support. They need us to help them achieve their dreams and fulfill their goals, just like every other kid needs support. And that's why we're here today. Today we're going to distribute the first of our 900 laptops that we have secured for kids throughout Cook County. We're starting here today with 20 young people from the Richard Flowers development so they can thrive in this distance learning environment. We all know how difficult it is to be in school to begin with. As a teenager or a younger kid, you miss that socialization. And now more than ever, kids that we serve need the tools, and we're the ones that are responsible for making sure that these young people have the tools that they need to succeed. So without further ado, I want to introduce our special guest today, and the person really who's led this effort for us throughout the county, making sure that all the housing that we own has gotten rehabbed and that young people have chances to go to school and really fulfill their dreams. She's a champion of community building and helping kids achieve their goals. So it's my honor to introduce my friend, Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I want to thank all of you for being here as we celebrate Digital Inclusion Week, which is a national campaign to raise awareness of the need to advance digital inclusion in all of our communities. I want to thank Rich Minacchio, the Executive Director of the Housing Authority of Cook County, for that kind introduction, and even more for his great work in his capacity as leader of HACC. I want to welcome Robbins Mayor Tyrone Ward. Thank you very much for joining us, Mayor Ward. Commissioner Sims has sent a member of her staff, Adam Moore, to join us. Where is Adam? Okay, come on over, Adam. Jose Rivera, our Deputy Chief of Staff, has been responsible for our digital equity and inclusion efforts, and he's joined us. I want to acknowledge Police Chief Roy Wells from Robbins as well. And my thanks to Michael Albert and David Jones, who are our sign language interpreters. As most of you know, I've made racial equity a cornerstone of my policy agenda, and the issue of digital access is especially relevant in our African American and Latinx communities. That's why I'm pleased to be back here at Richard Flowers for another opportunity to bring digital equity to school children who are housed in Housing Authority of Cook County developments. Today, we'll make good on our promise that we made when we were here last month, announcing the Housing Authority's partnership with Comcast to bring high-speed internet to many of our residents. We'll be distributing computers to Flowers families with school-age children who otherwise would be challenged to meet the instructional mandates of remote learning. What we're giving out today is just a small down payment on the hundreds of computers and tablets we'll be providing to Housing Authority families all over suburban Cook County in the coming weeks. And we're doing this for several reasons. One, all of our children must have the same opportunities in this remote learning environment as any other school children. No one should succeed or fail based on their zip code. In many parts of our county, school districts are providing computers and tablets. That's not the case everywhere, and I congratulate Rich Minacchio and his team at the Housing Authority for their vision in ensuring our children will have the tools they need to learn, grow, and succeed. And 2, Digital Equity Week challenges us to advance digital equity, needless to say. The partnership with Comcast is a great start. The equipment we provide today is a logical next step. But going forward, we must continue what we started when we extended a broadband internet line to the south suburbs. And actually, we're going to be doing more work on that in that regard shortly. We live in a digital world, after all. As I mentioned when we announced the Comcast partnership, a 2019 Pew survey found that 4 out of 5 white respondents reported having some home access to high-speed internet, compared to 67% of African Americans and only 60% of Latinx households. So basically 80% of the white community have internet access, 67% of African Americans and 60% of Latinx households. In our own Cook County, 3/4 of our households have broadband access according to the census, but that means that 1/4 do not. 25% of our residents do not have access, and a majority of those who do not have access are members of our black and brown communities. This isn't equity, needless to say, and this doesn't give our residents, especially our children, the tools they need to learn, grow, and succeed. It relegates them to second-class citizenship, and that to me is not acceptable. Rich and his team have excelled in assessing the needs of Housing Authority residents and proactively providing the services and now the equipment to bring digital inclusion to them. Every child deserves the same access to a quality education. During a time when that education has to happen remotely, via Zoom and other platforms, these programs make all the difference. I'm grateful to HACC for having the foresight and the determination to improve the quality of life for our Housing Authority residents. Rich, I think we're turning it back over to you.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Really underscores the huge importance of what we're here today to do and how this pandemic has really magnified the discrepancies that we see in this country and in this county, and it's not acceptable. My pleasure now to turn it over to another one of our special guests, the Mayor of Robbins, Mayor Ward.
Thank you, Rich. We want to personally thank the Honorable Tony Preckwinkle, our beloved president of the county, and we want to make sure that you understand the significance of what is going on. During the school year, all the kids have access to laptops, but the question becomes, what happens once the school year is over and the summer is over? We have been given, I say we because Robbins is a part of Richard Flowers and Richard Flowers is a part of Robbins. We have been given the opportunity to have continued learning. And really that's what it's about, continued learning, especially in the area of technology and developing and capitalizing and improving the training in that particular area. So we are glad, we are proud, and we are very appreciative to be a part of this gift, if you will. A few months ago, maybe not even a few months ago, we were given access to the internet. And now, as a partnership, as another building block to that, the area will receive laptops. And we just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Ward, for your remarks and for your partnership. We do feel we are very much a part of the Robbins community. Thank you. So now we're going to talk about the real stuff, in a sense. Who's going to really benefit from this? And we're doing this for the kids, and we really have two wonderful young men with us here today. They're freshmen, going in their freshman year at Eisenhower High School, and one is playing football and one is playing basketball. So these kids they're doing it right, school and sports. But I told you guys the grades are important, right? So first I'm going to ask Jabari to come up and say a few words about, we talked about this earlier, whatever you think, whatever this means to you, Jabari. Let's give Jabari a hand.
So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And I would just like to say that this program is helping me and my brother because we're going back to school October 16th, and the computers that they are giving to us will help us with more academically because we have to give the iPads back to the school that we're giving to us. So we will have a household item that could help us when we get out of school so that like we could stay on track, and when we get home we just don't be lacking academically.
Thank you.
Great job.
All right.
Thanks very much, Jabari. Now we're going to ask his twin brother to come up. Jathan, say a few words for us, son.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
First, I would like to thank Miss Lydell and Miss Noel for having me and my brother and my mother come out to speak lively with everyone, of course. And this process is very helpful and very kind. I would really like to thank everybody for coming out and helping us with this, because not only will it help us academically, it will also make things much easier for us, even though we will be provided with some things and some things won't be provided. The computers will be a big success for me and my brother and some of my siblings, because when we go back to school, like my brother said, we won't have the iPads that the school provided for us because they were loaned to us. We will have to soonly give them back, and that's all.
All right, here.
Thank you, Jathan. It's really a fitting way, I think, to conclude the formal part of this presentation, to hear from these two kids and their mom, Dominique, thank you, who have their futures in front of them, and obviously very, very gifted young men who are going to do great things. And we're so happy you guys are here with us today, okay?
All right, here.
So that does, I think, conclude the formal part of the program. Do we have any questions?
We have some reporters on the line.
Okay.
Why don't you do that?
Come on.
Hello.
Alice, are you on the line? Yeah.
Hi, Alice.
Hi. So my first question, can you talk about funding? Is this also through CARES Act money, or?
Yeah, the question was the funding, and yes, this is also federal CARES Act money. HUD did provide public housing authorities a limited amount of funds to during this pandemic, and we're spending it on two things: making sure that our facilities are safe and clean, and on kids. So yes, we are spending these CARES Act funds and on these laptops. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else?
Did all the laptops,
Okay, sure.
laptops cost, and how much did each laptop cost?
So the question was the total amount that was spent on the laptops, and the total amount for 900 devices was $310,000. So, roughly about $300 a device, which I think is very good and incalculable investment, really, when you think about it, into young lives, right? That $300,000, think about it, is going to help bring 900 young people to the digital world. And I can't think of a better way, to be quite honest, than to invest government funding than on our kids. So thank you for those questions. Anything else, Alice?
Yeah, my last question on this topic. Thank
Yes, the question was, do the young people get to keep the devices? And as what Mayor Ward said, it's one of the great benefits of this particular program, because in the case of the schools and the distribution of the devices, in most cases the young people have to return them. But in this case, it's an asset to the household, really, for years to come. So yes, the devices remain with the kids.
Okay, thanks. And I have one more question, an off-topic question for the president.
Okay.
Let's see if we have anybody else on the line. And we'll move to off-topic questions. Do we have anybody else on the line? Anybody else? Hey, Edie. Go ahead and ask your question.
Mine is also off-topic.
Off topic. Okay.
Anybody else with on-topic questions? Okay, Edie, you want to start?
Sure. I'm curious about the reaction to the CCH CEO name getting out, and tell us a bit about what the process will be like from here.
So AD's question is about the new chief executive officer that's been proposed to lead our health and hospital system. As you're aware, I've been committed from my first day in this office to work for racial equity, and in particular to try to address the challenges faced by our African American and Latinx communities. This program of the Housing Authority of Cook County is an excellent example of our commitment to equity, and I'm grateful again to Rich Minacchio and his staff for their good work in making this happen. The young man who's been proposed to lead our health and hospital system comes from New York and shares, I think, that commitment to a focus on racial equity and inclusion in his own healthcare experience, and we look forward to working with him.
Anything else, Edie?
Is it of any consequence that it was reported that Otis Story voted against the hospital board's choice?
This is the candidate that was proposed by the health and hospital system, and as I said, we intend to support him and work with him.
I think that's one of the questions.
Alice, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, following up on that, I was wondering if there are any specific thoughts on his qualifications, especially during his leadership throughout the coronavirus pandemic, that you think are important.
Okay, so the question is, are there any particular characteristics of his leadership in the midst of the pandemic that recommended him to us? I think this is a very challenging time for healthcare professionals at every level, particularly in public hospitals. As you're probably aware, the height of the pandemic, half of our patient load in Stroger Hospital was COVID-19 patients. So we had a disproportionate share of the burden of caring for pandemic patients, and I'm sure that was his experience in New York as well.
Anything else, Alice?
Thank you. No, that's it. Thanks.
All right, last call. Anybody else on the line?
I'd just like to thank Rich Minacchio and his team for another great idea effectively implemented. Thank you so much.